Hi guys, and welcome to the 11th weekend wrap. I'm Daniel Powell, Totally Speedway's publisher and editor. Thanks for joining me. A little bit late this afternoon. I did say for 5 o'clock, but it's now 6 o'clock here in New South Wales time. But we're here now. We had a range of rainouts throughout the weekend. Obviously, in the preview, listed a number of the events that were cancelled due to rain. There was a few of them that continued on last night. So we had Sydney's Valvoline Raceway was unfortunately lost to rain. That was everyone was in the pits, and then it rained down towards in the afternoon, and that knocked off their meeting, unfortunately. Dubbo's Morris Park in central western New South Wales was also victim to rain. Nowra Speedway on the south coast of New South Wales. So New South Wales copped a lot of rain, but you can see today the sun's out and everything like that. So yeah, strange weather, and it's meant to be summer now. And Carrick Speedway in Tasmania had their, not Carrick Speedway, sorry, Independent Oils, Gulf Western Independent Oils Raceway, sorry, there's a typo there by me, down in Tasmania. That's Latrobe. They got the first round of heat races in, and unfortunately the rain came and that wiped out that event, so it's unfortunate for Latrobe. So in terms of meetings that did get run, where they were able to beat the weather elements, so we had Murray Bridge Speedway in South Australia. That was, they had a fair bit of rain. It was a bit dicey in terms of whether that event would go ahead, but that got held. They were running the South Australian 410 Sprint Car title, which doubled as the third round of the Ultimate Sprint Car Championship for South Australia, and that was won by James McFadden. James McFadden put it on pole position after winning the pole shootout, and went on to lead. It was a pretty difficult track due to the rain. The track conditions certainly caught a number of people out, but in the end, McFadden, he was able to continue his winning run. He's had 4 outings, so he made his season debut here in Australia for this season. That was with the Jack Lee car, where he ran second at Premier Speedway to David Murcott, and then he was able to win at the Perth Motorplex 3 weeks ago. That was for the Monty Motorsport. Won again at Borderline Speedway Mount Gambier last Saturday night, and then this Saturday night just gone one at Murray Bridge Speedway. So James and the Monty Motorsport team are certainly in great form. That's 3 from 3 for the starts for them. Brad Keller put in his best performance of the season to qualify second, then go on to run second to McFadden. Robbie Farr ran third. Fourth was Stephen Lyons. Fifth was local Ryan Jones. He put in a strong drive, but was unfortunate to be able to get onto the podium. Corey Eliason driving for the Adam Curry team. He ran 6th. Jai O'Keefe was 7th. Keke Fallon was 8th. Luke Dillon was disappointing in 9th. He had a really tough night. Veteran Jamie Cobby made his return to sprint car racing for the first time this season, and he ended up 10th. So you had Tim Van Ginningen from Warrnambool in Victoria. He qualified third. He was involved in an incident during the feature race, went to the back of the field. The car was damaged. He ended up finishing 13th. Jamie Veal, who was obviously one of the favourites heading into the event, unfortunately he had an incident in his heat race, so qualified second in the second group of time trials, and then had an incident with Lockie McHugh in the heat races. Put Lockie out, put Jamie to the back. He ended up 6th, missed a transfer, and had to go through the B main. He ended up going for the B main, where he ran second to Brock Hallett. And in the feature race was making his way from the back of the field. Unfortunately, was involved in an incident which caused an accident, and he was unable to. He had a DNF, and that put him run. But obviously, he's had a good run leading into this season, and next Saturday night he'll be making his Cricket Motorsport debut. So he'll be doing that on next Saturday night for the Western Australian title. So in the support class, we had Harley Bishop, who had a tough run at his debut at Avalon Raceway last weekend, running for the Hard Dwyer team. So that's the car owned by Alison Dwyer and Mark Harrington. He ended up picking up the win on their home track, Murray Bridge Speedway. So he came from Victoria and was able to get the win. Todd Wigsell was second, and Brett Island was third. In the late models, it was Paul Stubber. So the late models are hosting. They've got this season's Australian title, so it's going to be held later in the season. And there's a number of drivers that are getting a lot of lap times track time at the track in order to get ready for the Australian title later in the season. So it was Western Australian racer Paul Stubber. Paul Stubber, who finished on the podium of last season's Australian title. I think he ran third off the top of my head. He's obviously getting some track time at Murray Bridge Speedway. He ended up picking up the win. Ryan Alexander, the Super Sedan star, he was second, and third was Mick Nicola, another Super Sedan driver that has recently stepped into late models. So he ended up third, so that was his first outing for Mick in the late models. With that, and then the wingless sprints, it was Luke Wheel from Victoria. Luke had unfortunately was rained out at Simpson Speedway for the opening round of the Super Series in Victoria, so he made the dash across to Murray Bridge to run there, and he ended up picking up the win. Matt Kennedy was second, and Aaron Doe was third. In the junior stands, it was Nathan Fawn who picked up yet another win ahead of Aaron Tranter and Shani Pitcher. So with that. Then Archfield Speedway in Brisbane and Queensland, they were able to get a winning run. It was the Super Sedans, so that they were headlining the program. It was the third round of the Queensland Super Sedan Series, and it was Matt Pascoe, the two-time Australian champion. He came away with the win. Justin Randall, he finished second, and former Queensland Series champion Sean Black was third. Matt Williams and Gavin Norfield completed the top 5 finishes. Darren Kane was unfortunate at DNF, along with Wayne Randall and Tanya Smith. So a few of the heavy hitters there had premature ends in the feature race. In the V8 Modifieds, last start winner, who was nominated, Andrew Bizzuti, he was a no-show. He didn't run. So in the end, at the conclusion of the feature race, it was Kevin Britton who scored the win. Mitch Randall put in another great drive. He ran second in the King of the Ring behind Tim Morse the previous weekend, but he got second again to Kevin Britton. He's having a really great run now this season. Chris Corbett, in his first appearance for the season, he's current Australian number 3. He was third. Fourth was Andrew Firth, and Graham Holland was fifth. In the late models, it was a small field once again for the late models up there in Queensland. Michael Jenner scored the win. Steve Van Zeelen was second, and third was Josh Schultz. Once again, Darren Kane and the Ian Botcher team didn't have the best of runs, and they unfortunately had another DNF. And it was 2 feature race starts in both the Super and the late model, and they were unfortunate. Non-finishing both of them. In the Mod Lights, it was Clinton Hansel who picked up his 4th win for the season. He came away with the victory ahead of Steve Collins and former New South Wales champion Will Butler. Terry Lidenvelt, who ran 7th in the V8 Dirt Modified feature race, went on to finish 7th in the Mod Lights feature race. So he and Darren Kane were both running double duties. Terry certainly would have been buggered after that doing the double duties. In the other classes, you had open sedans. The A class, Michael Taylor picked up the win. Gary Cavella and Ray Lane completed the podium. In the open sedan B feature race, it was Ben Robinson who scored the win. Ricky Price was second, and Ben Taylor was third. Staying in Queensland, we had the second sportsman night for the season at High Tech Oils Speedway in Toowoomba in Queensland. That's supported by Ian Botcher Race Parts, so they support this event. In the AMCA Nationals, Matt Hardy, I think that's his 5th win for the season in AMCA Nationals. He scored the win. Second was Steve Potts, and Matt Stadd was once again third. In the late models, in the modified sedans, it was a local top 3, so it was current Australian champion Matty Smith who drove to the win. Lee Volk and Peter White picked up the minor positions on the podium. In the street stocks, it was Ben Langton who picked up the win. Second was Travis Hutchinson, and current New South Wales champion Peter Thompson from Kingaroy. He was third. In the junior stands, it was Artie Jonick who picked up, I think that's his 7th win off the top of my head. In the junior sedans, Hayden Brims was second, and third was local Jordan Cunningham. In the micro sprints, it was veteran Shane Munro ahead of Jason Glenn, and Julian Ollie, I think that's how you say it, was third. In the stock cars, it was Mark Strachan. Second was Jeremy Hemi, and Rick Conrad was third. Folding on my thing. We've got Lismore Speedway in northern New South Wales. It was the only track in New South Wales on last night that was able to get the run. So in northern New South Wales, Lismore's usually falling victim to the rain. They got pretty lucky with this one. So it's the annual Christmas meeting they had. Headlining this was the production stand. So that was the Dream, which is in memory of the late Granville Anderson. In honour of him, it's $1,000 to win, and it was Chris Besslinger who picked up the win. Second was Daniel Henshaw from Queensland, and Adrian Stott was third. Mark Quirk and Madison Harkin were fourth and fifth. And the wingless sprints, it was a brutal night for wingless sprints. There was a number of serious crashes. Former Queensland champion Trent Martin had a serious crash, and he's resting, but yeah, the car was a heavy hit. Mick Gray from Coffs Harbour, he also had a heavy hit as well. But at the end of the feature race, it was Glenn Wright from Ipswich in Queensland who scored the win. Last start winner over there at Grafton was Andrew Gordon. He ended up second, and third was Mick Santon. David Eggins and Mason Cottrell were fourth and fifth respectively. In the MK National, it was Tim Gamble, another local racer, was first. Second was Paul Reeves, and former Australian MK National champion Jim Knight was third. In the compact speed cars, it was Robbie Stewart from Queensland. Wayne Corbett was second, and Emma Harris, she's the local, she was third. In the National Fours, we had Lukey Watt making his first appearance for the season. Lukey Watt, one of the most inspirational races you like to see, hasn't restricted his life due to being confined to a wheelchair, so he goes out there and races. He's got the hand controls, so he picked up his first win for the season and his first appearance. Ken Ducha was second, and Jerry Flood was third. In the junior stands for the RSA, it's Matthew Weir who picked up yet another win. Josh Boyd was second, and third was Josh Weir. And the final appearance for the 2017 season up north for Cairns International Speedway. They had a small field of number of classes up there at Cairns International Speedway. The Formula 500s were running, and Jared Desmiers scored the win. In the junior Formula 500s, it was Brodie Davis who came up on top. In the modified sedans, they had the biggest field out of all of them. It was John O'Collins, the veteran, who scored the win. Second was Brett Brady, and Chris Ross was third. In the National Fours, it was Darren Collins, that's the older brother of John O'Collins. He scored the win in the National Fours. Buddy King was second, and Nathan Hewitt was third. In the Outlaw Sprint stands, that was the final class. It was local Jeff Rosa who drove to the victory. Peter Butler was second, and Dean Delegas, I think that's how you say that, in third. So we've got there with that. And thanks everyone, thanks Pickles Cunningham for tuning in. Thanks Anthony McLean, thanks. But please like, comment, share, comment this, and let everyone know so we can get a bigger reach. Really appreciate everyone for tuning in. So then we're going over to the west coast of the country in Western Australia. So I had Manjimup Speedway, which is about 2.5 to 3 hours north of Perth. They were holding the Western Australian 360 sprint car title, and it was Caden Manders, the youngster, who put it on pole. I'll put it out of position 2, but he was able to get past pole sitter and the impressive Adrian Hayward, who done really well. He led the first 10 laps before Manders was able to get through, take the lead. And he went on to take the win. Adrian Hayward, he impressed. I can see his crew chief here, Brenton Putty, tuning in there. So well done, Brenton, with that. So Adrian, put out his best run to run second. So unfortunately, he'd lost a cylinder, so he was down to 7 cylinders throughout the feature race. So that certainly wouldn't have helped his cause, but still done well to run second. He was wrapped with that result. Third home was Michael Keenan, only his second appearance this season. He completed the podium after qualifying fourth. Defending Western Australian champion Mitchell Warmall, he qualified third, but he was unable to successfully defend his title, and he ended up fourth. And James Inglis made another cameo appearance in 360 sprint cars. He completed the top 5. Also on the night, you had the Formula 500s, which was the third round of the West Coast Series. It was Glenn Carstairs, who's the current Western Australian champion. He picked up the win. This was where he picked up last season's Western Australian title, and once again he put in a strong result to score the win. Chris Dimmick and Cody Tariaka, I think that's how you say it, was second and third respectively. In the junior sedans, you had Matt Thompson scored yet another win. Bronte Barnsby was second, and Toby Gunson was third. In the junior Formula 500s, they're a class that they're really strong in Brisbane and Queensland, and slowly, not sure what's happening in Victoria and South Australia, but the junior Formula 500s, slowly gaining more numbers over there on the west coast. So it was Jai McKenzie that scored the win. Second was Declan Minchin, so it's a familiar name. And third was Nash Waldron, another familiar name. So the Minchin and the Waldron names are obviously well known in the 360 and 14 sprint car series over the last 15 to 20 years sort of thing. So yeah, with that, so it's good to see the young blood and getting them an opportunity. Not everyone wants to be running a junior sedan, so it's good to have an open wheel class that is juniors and to give people some laps before they get into the big ones. So junior Formula 500s, I think that they would get off, or they would take off a lot quicker. But yeah, it's a bit of a struggle, but yeah, hopefully they can get better. So hey, Wayne McKenna, thanks for tuning in, mate, and good luck. Get back out on the track in that 14 sprint car of yours. So then we've got Narrogin Speedway in Western Australia. So the street stocks are on the program there: junior sedans, Formula 500s, AMCAs, quarter midgets, and limited sprint cars. In the street stocks, it was Nick Brown who scored the wins ahead of Jeremy Ferris and Matt Cook. In the junior sedans, it was Brodie Day who scored the win. Madison Turner and Riley Hanson were second and third place respectively. In the Formula 500s, it was Debbie Patmore who came away with the win. Sam Highthorn-Waite, I think that's how you say it. That's a familiar name out of V8 modifieds and late models over there. So Sam Highthorn-Waite, I think I said that right. Okay, she was second, or she or he, not sure about that. And Ben Lally was third. In the AMCA Nash, they had a small field. It was unfortunate they had a number of scratchings late in the piece. Dave Boyes, who's the current Australian number 3, he scored the win. Second was Greg Horan, and Murray Parsons Jr. was third. In the quarter midgets, it was Jordan Anhere. Second was Charlie Roden, and third was Rachel Ganaway. In the limited sprint cars, they had a really strong field, and there's some interesting names amongst there. It was the birthday boy, Benny Migro, who had his birthday, I think it was yesterday or Friday. He scored the win in the limited sprint cars. Brendan Condren, who come out of wingless, went to speed cars, but he's running limited sprint cars now. He was second. And Brett Barden from Geraldton, he's the current Western Australian champion. He was third. So yeah, really good run there, and limited sprint cars seem to be going pretty well over there in terms of numbers and that. Then we've got Esperance Speedway in Western Australia, so that's way down south of Western Australia. It's about, I think from Kalgoorlie, it's about 4 to 5 hours. So that's an East Coast talking here, so I'm not 100% sure about that. So Esperance, they were headlight the street stocks for their annual 2020 event. It was Jack Barnwell and Aaron Murphy who were successfully able to defend their title. So they won that once again. For Jack Barnwell, it was his third in a row. Second with Aaron Murphy in a row. Zach Humphrey and Cody Kellman were second. Todd Barrett and Sean Barrett were third. Peter Walker and veteran Bobby Wakefield, they're the Kalgoorlie connection. They were, and obviously Jack Barnwell's from Kalgoorlie too, so they were fourth. Brendan Fraser and Peter Fraser were fifth. In the production sedans, it was Bronte Humphreys who scored the win. Sean Barrett, who was doing obviously double duties in street stocks and production sedans, he was second, and Stephen Reeves was third. In the junior sedans, it was Dylan Parks who come away with yet another impressive win. Blake Fletcher and Hayden Mortimer were second and third place respectively. Mount Barker Speedway staying in Western Australia, it was the super sedans running. So Mount Barker, not 100% sure whereabouts that is in Western Australia, but I know that they run day meetings because they don't have lights. So in the super sedans, it was Chris Pavlich who scored yet another win. I think that was his third win of the season so far. Second was veteran Kevin Bell, and Adam Campbell was third. In the street stocks, it was Peter Herbert who drove to victory. Paul Bowman and Lincoln Coleman were second and third place. And the production sedans, it was Bill Penn who scored the win. Jaddy Maroney was second, and Ryan Penn was third. We're nearly done here, guys. Sorry, we had a little technical glitch there with a battery with that. So yeah, so then we continue on to only a couple more events to cover. And Geraldton... Okay, sorry, just my phone's playing silly buggers. So Geraldton City Speedway, so they had limited sprint cars, and they that was won by Grant Atkinson from Mark Doble and Matt Davis. In the production hands, it was Richard Barker who scored the win. Peter Dowie and Ashley Baker was second and third place. In the Super Sixes, it was Belinda Craig ahead of Bevan Francis and Josh Curtin. In the Super Modifieds, it was Neville Williams ahead of Lance Beaver and Mark Shepherd. In the Formula 125cc's, it was Danielle Berry who came away with the win. Caitlin Wright and Julie Auld were second and third place. In the Junior Formula 125cc's, it was James Berry who took out the win. Isaac Benson and Logan Horrow were second and third place. In the Junior Sedans, you had top stars, so Bradley Short ahead of Jack Dalton and Rory Alarm Beaumont. I think that's how you say that. So they were second and third in the New Stars feature. So it's good that you got top stars and new stars. Separates the pack, allows drivers to build confidence. And the New Stars, it was Nathan Chant who came away with the win. Alicia, sorry, I tongue-tied there. Alicia Short was second and third was Emma Ahern. So they were second and third. Gilman Speedo, so going back to the 2 and 3 wheels. Gilman Speedo, which is near Adelaide in South Australia. And the solos, Justin Sedgman, who was one of the wildcard riders at the October's Speedo Grand Prix. So Justin Sedgman came away with the win. Robert Branford was second and third was Jordan Stewart. In the sidecars, it was veteran Mark Mitchell and his passenger Dale Knights who scored the win in the final. Neil Hancock was second with his passenger Tim Wedgner, I think that's how you say it. Third was Braden Gates and Michael O'Loughlin, that combination there. And just recently, about an hour or so ago, they had the New South Wales solo title, so the seniors solo title that was held at Curry Speedo today. It was meant to be held last night, but due to all the rain on the east coast, the event was postponed till today. It went from a night show to a day show this afternoon, to start around 11 a.m. and recently finished. And Rowan Tungate, who was one of the stars, who was one of the reserves for the Speedo World Grand Prix final at Melbourne's Etihad Stadium, so he came away with 2 wins it was in his 2 rides there as a reserve. He came away with the New South Wales title. One of the strongest rides was Josh Pickering. He ended up getting on the podium. He's a local from Curry, and Rowan Tungate, he's Curry and Newcastle around there. So Josh Pickering was second. That was a new career highlight for him. So guys, that completes everything. We didn't have the best of runs in terms of the weather. Hopefully the weather gods are kind to us next weekend, so we can get some more speedo racing. There was, I think, off the top of my head, I think there was about a dozen rainouts throughout. So what we've got coming up this week, so we've got Tuesday night, we've got the Conversations program. That's going to be with Cricky Motorsports team manager Ryan Cricky, so that's ahead of Jamie Veal's debut with the team. This coming Saturday night for the Western Australian 410 sprint car title at the Perth Motorplex. So I'll be sitting down with, having a conversation via phone hookup with Ryan Cricky, talking all things about, obviously there's been a lot of changes throughout the off-season. Just wanted to sit down with him, have a chat about going forward in the season ahead. That'll be on Tuesday night, so that'll be around probably 8 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock New South Wales time, so it'll be about 4:30 WA time. So yeah, Ryan will be chatting for about an hour or so. So yeah, hopefully we can get him on for that. But it's going to be talking all things about the sport moving forward, Jamie Veal's arrival, and everything like that. So yeah, there's a lot of things that we need to clear the air and get the word out there about what happened with Brooke Tatnell and all that. So that'll be interesting viewing on Tuesday night. So it'll be 7:30. Usual, we'll have 7:30 on Wednesday night. We will have the weekly Q&A with myself. So I look forward to that. We had probably the biggest one that we've had in a long time. So I think we're up to show number 20 now or something like that. So yeah, that'll be Wednesday night. And once again, we'll be doing the weekend preview on the Friday afternoon. So guys, thanks once again for tuning in. Really appreciate this support. Please like, comment, share, let people know that we're talking about them, and by tagging them in or something like that, just to grow the engagement. Really appreciate the support. Have a good week ahead, and yeah, I'll see you guys on Tuesday night. So that's cool. All right guys, thanks. Bye.